Hello, everyone. Welcome to Advanced Google Search. My name is Ole Kagan. I'm the Community Engagement Coordinator for LA County Library, and I thank you for joining us on this cold, winter, rainy morning. Unusual for Los Angeles, but we're inside. Hopefully everybody's dry, and we're happy to have you here. Martin Malelu is a MakeMo librarian, and MakeMo stands for Maker Mobile. What they do is they drive a MakeMo van all over LA County, presenting STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts, and math programs to audiences for ages 0 to 99 and upwards. So we go to schools, senior centers, we go to juvenile hall, we go to parks, anywhere we're invited. Martin goes and brings STEAM programming. And part of STEAM programming is this very digital literacy series, Thursdays at 11 a.m. And today, Martin is presenting on a topic that we all experience practically every day because we all do web searches. And Martin will be teaching you today how to take your web searching to the next level with advanced Google search. And with that, I bring Martin Malelu to the stage.
Thank you, Ulrich. Okay, so yeah, so we all probably use Google all the time, and I mean it's pretty much everywhere these days, right? Like you want to know something, you're just going to type it into Google and see if it comes up. So let's take a look at some advanced Google searching. This isn't working very well for me today. There we go. Okay, so advanced search. People are saying they can barely hear me. Maybe I need to. Why? Oleg, how
Martin,
does it
you're
sound to
you're
you?
a little bit quiet. There's a slight echo. Um, are you using your headphones or using the computer
I should be
for
using
audio?
my headphones. Let me.
You might go into the audio settings and boost the audio just a little bit.
Yeah, let me check it out. Using computer for audio. That's no, it should be working. Let's check this. Is that better?
That is a little bit louder.
That's
Can you make it
loud.
any more any louder?
That's as loud as it's gonna let me make it. Let's try. Is that better?
That is better. That is a lot louder. That's perfect. There's
Great.
still a little bit of like an airy sound behind it, but it is louder and that's much better.
Okay, cool. We figured that out. All right, so let's get back into it. So with advanced search, you can search the internet we're going to kind of focus on Google today, but the things that we're going to talk about, I'll try to speak a little bit louder too. They can be applied to any search engine that you're using. And even like if you're searching something on maybe, I don't know if it actually works, but like other websites, like if you search on Etsy or something, you might be able to use these things. Just a lot of places where you're gonna do a search, you can use these things that we're gonna talk about today. All right, so let's go to the next slide, if it'll let me. There we go. Okay, so an example of a time you might use this is, say you wanted to look up articles about a specific breed of dogs. You're interested in getting a dog, and you want to read more about a type of dog that you want. So you could narrow your search down to find out about those dogs. Specifically, if you wanted to limit your results to like those dogs in the US, like maybe like how people perceive those dogs or where people have those dogs, you could use these techniques that we're going to talk about to make sure that the search results that you're looking for come up at the top of your search results. Because we all know that like if you type in a couple words to Google, you can get hundreds of thousands of pages of results. And sometimes it's a real pain to like look through all of those and figure out what ones are good or relevant even. So why use this, the advanced search? You can limit the parameters of the search to allow the more relevant websites to be displayed at the top. And you can include specific details in your searches. So if you were looking for a dog, type in dog or canine or puppy. Or you can omit certain search terms too. We're going to go over what or and not mean in a little bit. So if you wanted to look for dogs, but you didn't want information about puppies, you could type in dog, not puppy. So we're going to learn the names and the uses of Boolean operators. We're going to get into a little bit more about what a Boolean operator is, so no worries if you don't know. And we're going to learn how to fill out an advanced search form on a search engine website. And hopefully by the end, you'll know a little bit about how to craft searches that better retrieve the desired information. All right. So the Boolean logic and operators we're going to talk about, and advanced search forms. Those are the two main things we're going to discuss. Okay, so Boolean logic, named after a guy named George Boole, who was a mathematician. I actually just looked him up today because I was like, where does that word come from? But it's a set of operators or gates that limit a search. So basically, if you type in a word, it's going to go through, it's going to be filtered based on the Boolean operators that you choose to use within your search. So the operators that we're going to go over today are and, or, and not. So you can set up a search to go through these words in a specific order. And you can use more than one at a time too. So the word and, so and narrows a search. So if I typed in dogs, cats, I'm going to be searching dogs and cats because the and is implied when you do a search. And we'll go over that a little bit more too, but and narrows a search. So you're looking for dogs and cats, right? The word or broadens the search. So if you typed in dogs or cats, you're going to get things that include dogs or cats or both. The word not omits certain words from the search. So in this day and age, most search engines don't use the word not. They instead use the minus sign. So that's a little bit of a little, it kind of differs from the words and or. So let's look at some examples. So searching the term pets will bring up, I use a lot of animal examples in this because I wanted to put pictures of animals in my slideshow. But searching the word pets will bring up a lot of results. So like anything can be a pet. You could have like reptiles or fish or dogs and cats, birds. But if you only wanted to look for dogs and cats, you could type in dogs and cats, and it will bring up results that only include both those specific animals. If you typed in dogs or cats, it's going to bring up results about either dogs or cats or both, because it's looking for the words dogs or cats. If you search pets minus cats, so that's pets, not cats, it's going to bring up results about pets that don't mention the word cats or that don't include information about cats. How are we feeling about this? Do we feel like this is confusing? Are we understanding? Do we have any questions so far? Not confusing? We're doing okay? All right, so it looks like we're doing okay. Does everyone seem to be doing okay, Oleg?
Yes, absolutely. Everyone is saying okay, yes, not confusing. So yeah,
Great,
doing
good,
doing
good,
great so
good,
far.
good. Okay. So let's talk about a little bit more things that you can do while searching. So you can use quotes around a set of words, and it will search for that exact term. So the example I use is a wildlife preserve. So if you're looking to go to a wildlife preserve, you can search the term wildlife preserve, and it's going to search the term wildlife and the word preserve because, like I said earlier, the word and is implied. So when you type in those two words, it's not going to read them together as one thing. It's going to read them as two separate words, right? So wildlife and preserve is what you're actually searching when you type in the word wildlife preserve into a search engine and hit enter. If you put quotes around the words wildlife preserve, it's going to search for those two words together. It's going to search for exactly what's in those quotes. So searching the term wildlife preserve in quotes will only pull up those two words found exactly as you have typed them in. And another thing, you can use more than one Boolean operator can be used in a search at any given time. So if I want to go see some animals in real life, I can search zoo or aquarium or wildlife preserve in quotes, and it will retrieve results about any of those three places. So let's some other examples. You can also use parentheses. So this is kind of something you might remember from math ages ago. I know it's ages ago for me. Putting parentheses around a search term orders that search term. So it's going to read the parentheses first. So searching adoption and pets in parentheses, and then I put not children in that example. So adoption and pets is in parentheses, but then I have that minus sign, children. So I'm looking for information about adopting pets, but not adopting children. So hopefully, I mean, this result would pull up information, not hopefully, it would pull up information about adopting pets, but not adopting children. So any information about adopting pets would come up, but it would exclude any search results that included the word children. So there is a way to kind of do this without having to type in the Boolean operators. So I have a little up close picture right here of advanced search form. This is google.com/advanced_search. I don't know if Oleg wants to throw that in the chat real quick. So you can also look at it while you listen to me if you're interested in doing that. So this is, you can go here to do the same thing that we just talked about, but in a form. So if I wanted to find pages with all of the words zoo and aquarium, excuse me, and this exact word or phrase, it says right there, and I typed in wildlife preserve, then that's going to be the same as searching for zoo or aquarium or wildlife preserve. So the advanced Google search form is it's the same thing, except it kind of has little prompts for you. We're gonna, on the next slide, this is kind of small, so that's why I kind of think that if you can go to this website, you should check it out too. Because I do know that this is small and hard to see, and you will be getting this in an email after the program, so you can either zoom in on this or go to the website. But you can see that the advanced search form is super long. Like, you can really narrow down your search. So not only can you do all these words and this exact word or phrase that we just looked at, you could also do, there's a field for any of these words. So you could type in zoo, aquarium, and wildlife preserve, and it'll find anything with any of those words. And then it's got the none, so none of these words. That's the not that we were talking about earlier. And then there's also the numbers ranging from, and then it's got a blank and a blank, blank to blank. So if you wanted to find a dog that weighed between 5 and 10 pounds, you could absolutely kind of narrow your search that way. And then with this form, gosh, I have clearly not talked enough today. Then you can narrow your results by language. So if you want to only look at results in Spanish, you can do that. Or if you only want results in English, you can do that. You can do it by region, so that you'll find pages published in a particular region. So if you only wanted to read stuff published by people in the United States, you could do that. You can also update by, you can search by last update. So if you only wanted to find stuff that's been published in the last 3 years, You can do that. You can narrow your results by site or domain. So you can limit your results to like .gov or .edu or .org or any other domain you can think of. You can there's just a lot you can do from here. Um, yeah. So I mean, file type, usage rights. Yeah. So like,
Question. Sandy asks, do you need to go to this advanced search screen in order to limit your search by these things, or can you just type it in when you go to google.com and just have the search box?
to get to the advanced search page, you do have to go to google.com/advanced_search.
But if
Um,
you wanted to,
sorry, go
if you
ahead.
wanted to, if you wanted to limit your search, for example, uh, if you didn't want to go to this box, if you wanted to just do an advanced kind of query within the regular Google search box, can you do that instead of going to this page?
Yeah, absolutely. You would just have to use those Boolean operators that we talked about. So instead of like being prompted for it, you would have to type in the and, the or, and the minus sign for the not, or use the parentheses and the quotes. Um,
And you can
yeah,
also do that you can actually, I think all of these actually have a specific term that you can use within just a search bar. So if you can, if for,
right.
I know that file and site do. So if you want to search just by like .org, you can go to site, you can type site colon dot org um, uh, in your chats. I mean in your search box. I just posted in the chat, and that'll limit your search to only sites that have a .org in them.
Yeah, Google is super powerful. There's a lot you can do with it. We're kind of only just scratching the surface of what it is able to do and like how accurate it can get with the stuff that you're looking for. Do we have other questions at this point?
Oh, we did have a question from Sue asking, can you limit the time period of the results?
Yeah, so like with last update, down at the bottom here, can I draw this?
If you click annotate at the top of your screen,
All
it's very
right,
convenient.
so
I love the drawings.
there's last update right here. You can search for, it says find pages updated within the time you specify. So that'll bring results that you can limit by when they were last updated, which can be super helpful.
And when you're doing the search, just from the search bar, is a plus the same as an and?
Oh, I don't know that. That didn't come up for me. Do you know?
I don't. I think yes. I'm gonna try it right now, actually. Um,
Okay.
so I'm gonna do a search. I'm doing it on my own screen, but I'm gonna narrate what I'm doing. So I'm gonna search uh, pets plus ceilings. I wonder if anything will come up.
I
That's
mean, feeling that was a big meme for a long time.
actually wildly, yes. I just typed in plus, and there is a acronym PET, pet ceiling panels. That's one of the things with Google. It doesn't know that you're searching for an animal, although there is an image from Pinterest, kitchen cabinet island for dogs and cats. Huh? And there's ceilings in the search. So yes, you can type in a plus, and I'm going to do an and search to see if it comes up with exactly the same thing. Yep. Yeah, a plus and an and are interchangeable in a Google search bar.
All right, good to know. Thank you for that question.
Sure, I think there was another question. Let me take a look here. Um, is Google the best for advanced search? What about Bing and Yahoo? How do they compare?
I don't know if there's a best. I think that people tend to use whatever one feels best to them. So if you feel more comfortable using Bing or you feel more comfortable using Yahoo because those are the ones that you've just been using, they all kind of work the same. So I think it's just personal preference for the most part. But the things that all the Boolean operators and the advanced search form are available on all of them. They all have their own advanced search form. They all use the same Boolean operators. It's just a pretty standard, Boolean operators are pretty standard.
Yeah, it's a rule.
Yeah,
There are differences in the algorithms that Google, Bing, and Yahoo use to rank their pages, but for m the majority of searches that most people make, that their results will be pretty much they'll be
right.
similar.
Yeah.
Let me see. Can the safe search be used to limit sites that aren't safe? With the ones like with no lock, without the HTTPS. I don't think that's what safe search actually is.
Yeah, so safe search kind of just limits explicit content that you might not want like children to see or you might not want to see for whatever reason. So it's not necessarily about like not getting viruses or not getting malware. It's more about like what you feel comfortable coming up in your search results.
Hmm. Yeah, exactly. Here's a great question. Anne asks, can you give an example of why the file type would be useful?
Yeah, so if you want to download an article that's in a PDF form, you can make sure that you're searching for things that are only in PDF. Or if you want an editable Word doc, you could search for that. Or if you're looking for music or you
Or an
are,
image?
yeah, or a picture, you can limit the search that way.
Yeah, that's a great question. Most people think all that Google brings up is websites, but in fact, it crawls the whole internet, and on the internet there are all different kinds of files, including images and Word docs, like you said, PDFs, and so limiting by file type can be very useful. So, Sue writes, just to confirm, I can write in the time period, right? Um,
I think so. That's actually the last update thing is a drop down menu.
mhm.
So uh, I don't. This is I can't interact with this. This is just a screenshot of Google Advanced Search. But I do encourage you to pull it up and you can look at that drop down menu. So you'll be able to kind of see what options are available for you there in that drop down menu. But it doesn't allow you to type in uh, that box right there.
There's a when in a Google search, after the first, actually, let me bring it up real quick on this on my screen. That way we'll see. Sorry, Martin.
You want
Do you
to
mind if
share
I?
your screen?
Yeah, I'm gonna share my screen. I'm just gonna share really quickly what that looks like.
Okay.
Um, how to limit that search. So I'm gonna just switch over to me. And I really like that people are asking these questions. This is really nice. People are engaged, and that for all the folks out there who have questions that you're comfortable enough to ask them. So let me go ahead and share just my browser.
Yeah, it brings up a thing on the left, doesn't it, where you can limit by time, right?
Yes. So if here's a Google search. So if I say I search pet plus ceilings, that's what search I was talking about. So right over, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so here's the search pet plus ceilings, and here there's a button called tools, and I click that, and then right over here towards the left side, here's the search for the time period. So any time past hour, past 20. So for news articles, if you're looking for the latest news, past hour would come in handy. You can also do a custom range. So sometimes if you're looking for a computer assistance about a certain piece of software, and that's you know that software is only 2 years old, but it had a previous version, this is when this would come in handy because then you search for the tutorial within the range after when the new version came out, and you're more likely to get a computer assistance that's useful. So you can type in years here or just select a date, and you can select a full date. Um, this is one of my favorite things about Google search or advanced search in general, time search. All right, let me bring it back to you, Martin, and then you can continue the presentation. Let me see if there's any questions that popped up before and during while I was talking. So now you should be able to share again. Do I have to use a particular date format? Sue says. So if you use the drop-down bar that I just demonstrated, it'll show you the date format. And then, so, oh, I see. Maribel asks, can you demonstrate how to use file type? I can actually do that in the chat. So if you want to limit your search by file type, you type in your search. So I typed in pets plus ceilings. I don't know why this that search came into my mind. And then I type in I think it's file. Is it type or file? I always forget. I think it might be file, and then you can type in .pdf. So your search would look just like what I just put in the chat. So pets plus ceilings, then space, then file. Let me double check if it's type or if it's file. I think it might be type. .pdf. Yep, it's the way I typed it in the chat is correct. So if you do that, then it limits your search just to PDF files. All right, let's see what else we have.
In the advanced search menu, if you do go to this advanced search menu, it's you don't have to type in that file. It's just a drop-down menu, and you can select. Um,
Yeah, that's
you can
the benefit of the advanced search is that you don't have to memorize all of those little things. Mark and I do
correct.
searches all the time as librarians, so we're used to typing in all these things into the query bar. But if you just do it very occasionally, the advanced search is a lifesaver.
Yeah, if you're looking for something specific, very
So
helpful.
here's a question. This is a very interesting question. And you might cover it later in your presentation. Sandy asks, I often ask Google questions. Is there an effective way to create more specific answers? So some of the questions about relevance.
To create specific, what,
So,
um,
so when is there a way to make the answers to the questions more? I think that's going to be might be covered further on in your presentation, but then we can explore relevance a little bit later.
um,
Um, I think that's a bigger question.
well, this is kind of the end of the presentation, so
Oh, well, we're in the right place then.
yeah, yeah.
Well,
No, let's do it. Let's get into these questions.
you know what? Why don't you finish and then we'll cover the rest because there's some questions coming up here. Um, why don't you finish,
I mean,
summarize, and then we'll get more into the rest of it. We'll get into the rest of the question because I think there's a longer conversation happening here. And we've kind of derailed your
no, you're
flow,
good.
but
I just
go.
kind of wanted to
Yeah.
scratch the surface, but it
Oh
sounds
yeah.
like we want more information. Um,
We're gonna really get into advanced search here. Go ahead
yeah,
and finish up, and then we'll do the questions.
I mean, let's just get into it. I was just going to summarize that, saying that like using or and or not can really help you out, but it sounds like people want more than that. So we have to have some resources. So let's talk about these resources and then we'll get into these questions. So after this presentation, if you want more information, we have LinkedIn learning courses that are super helpful. I actually, yeah, so that's LinkedIn Learning. That one is super good. It's a video course that will help you refine your online searches. It's going to go into far more detail than we have today. It starts off simple, but then it really like dives in deep. It's a video course. That's a link to it. You're going to get this slideshow in an email, so you'll be able to click that link and get there. And then there's a couple of books on here, The Joy of Search and Harnessing the Power of Google are two books that we have in physical copy. And then we have Google Searching Like a Pro on Hoopla, which is one of our ebook resources that is definitely worth checking out. But all these links will be clickable once you get your this PowerPoint in your email. And then you can always ask us. You can ask anyone at any library, anyone who works there. Everyone is super helpful. Um, and we're available via phone or via chat reference. You can walk into any library now, almost any library. Um, and yeah, so you're muted, Oleg. Can't hear you.
That happens all the time. So this just really just scratches the surface because this is just the very basics of the world of advanced search. I mean, there's so much these Boolean operators. They seem so simple and not, but putting them all together can create a really powerful search. So let's get some of these questions. Um, so. Uh, Anne Anne asks a very pertinent question here. So that pet versus pet example, so pet in capital letters versus pet example brings up a problem I've encountered. How do I make Google recognize a proper name or term like Popper, maybe the philosopher Popper, versus Popper like a popper?
Um, I don't know. You probably have to type in the whole name in quotes um, to get that kind of result, or you'd have to type in more information. Just searching the term popper is just going to bring up a number of things, anything containing that word. So I think that that's when like the Boolean operators are really going to come in handy. Like typing the whole name in quotes is probably going to be helpful, or typing in more information, or using not will also be helpful. So if you're searching the word popper, but you don't want party poppers, type in minus party, and that'll help a lot too. But yeah,
Yeah.
I think that Boolean operators will be able to help you out a lot there. But there's
Yeah,
no
one
way
of the
to specify that you're looking for a proper noun versus a uh, common noun,
an improper noun.
improper noun, right? Um, when you're
It's
just
true.
typing in a word.
It's true. It's one of the challenges of online search with a person. The context comes right through with a information retrieval system like a search engine. It does not come through at all. So you have to really think about your search, how you're phrasing your search. Think about words around the search. So like Martin said, like somebody, if you're searching for a person, include their first name. If you're looking for, pet versus the PET example, so if I was looking for pets that walk on ceilings, like cats that walk on ceilings, um, I don't know if they'll be ghost cats probably. Um, in that situation, I would probably put like pet cat ceiling. I would add something that would guide that would essentially guide Google to I would think about what kind of other words would be in that site the ideal site that I'm searching for. And then I would include one of those words, perhaps in parentheses, I mean, perhaps in quotes, so that that will definitely come into the search. So it's yeah, I mean, what you're really trying to do when you're doing advanced search is really trying to you're trying to guide the information retrieval system, and you have in mind what you're looking for, and you're trying to figure out a way to help the search engine get to it. Um, so there's Sean asks, is there a search engine that has the best advanced search?
Um,
Mm.
I think it really is like what you're most comfortable with. And I think that if, yeah, I think best is kind of a subjective term. And it's what has been like historically the best for you is probably what you're going to want to go for. So what works for me might not work for other people, and what works for other people might not work for me. So if I am using Google every time and I'm never getting the results I want, but when I use Bing, I always get the results I want, then I'm going to use Bing's advanced search. And they all have their own like advanced search form too. So if one makes more sense to you and you're like, this just works better for me because I understand what they're asking in all these fields, then that's the one you're going to want to use too. So I think it truly is what works best for you.
Yeah, there's certainly subjectivity involved, and I would also add that it depends on what you're searching for. So if you're searching, there are different search engines that might be better for some different things, but that gets pretty specialized. So if Google and Bing and all those big sites are good for a general search, but if you're searching for some statistics or something numerical, you might try a search engine like Wolfram Alpha. Let me type in the link in the chat. That's a slightly more specialized search, and it won't bring you all kinds of random results, and you really have to kind of fiddle around with it to get it working for you. But it's a powerful search. I'm going to post it in the chat so you guys can play with it when you have a chance. Um, and I'll post it in the follow. I'll send in the follow-up email as well, because it's something unusual. But it's a search engine that most people don't come into contact with unless you're looking for something numerical, quantitative, or math. It does math for you too, by the way.
Oh yeah,
Um,
Google will do math for you.
Google will also do math for you. Those are the kind of powerful things. Google will do math for you and do conversions for you.
Mhm.
Very convenient. So let's
It's
see.
super convenient.
So Jan asks, to limit to a site, you can put any website like site colon colapublib.org, right? So
Uh,
the answer is yes.
Yeah.
So if you want to search only within a certain site, so if you want to only search, for example, the New York Times, then you put your search query, so pets plus ceilings. Um, I'm going to type this in the chat because it's fun. Pets plus ceilings, and then you do site colon nytimes.com. It looks like that. And that will limit your search. That way, Google will only search within the confines of that domain of Google of NewYorkTimes.com. Um, Jen asks, is there a necessary order to Boolean search? Does it follow arithmetic order of operations?
So yeah, that's why like the parentheses are gonna help you keep stuff in order too. So to an extent it does. There's no like multiplying or dividing really when you're doing, and there's no like exponents. But it is going to, it's gonna like read down the line, but then like I used the example of parentheses. Let me bring that back up. What's that? Yeah, so, went too far. So searching adoption and pets in parentheses is going to search for adoption and pets and then not children. So it's going to search for those two things together and not children.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so there is like a little bit of order involved, and it does take a little bit of consideration when thinking about how you want to order things. But it's not quite as intense as having to think about what was the acronym PEMDAS?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, it's not quite that intense.
Next question. What about using Google searches to search YouTube videos? Is it a matter of typing in a name slash topic?
So if you're just trying to search YouTube, you can do that from Google. You can do the site colon YouTube and then do your search if you want. I think that there's also a tab that says videos. So after you do your search, there's like a couple of tabs at the top, and you can search like news or images. And I think there's one for videos.
I believe there
And
is, yeah.
yeah, since YouTube is owned by Google, I do believe that it will just automatically bring up YouTube videos in your Google
I
search.
think it goes beyond YouTube actually, that video
Oh, does
search.
it?
I believe it does. Let me search. I mean, let's find out if there are any videos of pets plus
Ceiling
ceilings.
cats.
Yeah,
Ceiling cats.
I'm gonna start typing cats plus ceilings. That's more interesting. Um,
I
Cats
feel like
plus
YouTube
ceilings.
is such like just such a go-to these days that maybe it brings up Vimeo and
No, it actually brings up videos from. It does bring up YouTube because YouTube is so, like you said, it's so common. But it looks
yeah,
like it brought up some videos from Facebook.
nice.
Um, looks like it brought up a video from a news site, WGNTV.com.
Cool.
Um, yeah, so it brings up videos, DVM360.com. I don't know if it does Vimeo or other searches like that, but it might just be my search. That's really weird.
Nobody's uploaded their videos of ceiling cats to
No.
Vimeo. Um, so yeah, that's good to know. You can also like limit your search, like I said, with site colon YouTube, and then just do a search that way. And also all of these things that we talked about, all the Boolean operators. Yeah, so somebody just asked this question, do these operators work in YouTube? They do. You can absolutely use these operators in your YouTube search.
This brings up actually an interesting point. Um, as a librarian, that I've often run into when working at the reference desk, and that is sometimes Google isn't the best place to go to find what you're looking for. Sometimes you just need to go to the actual site, to the site itself. So if you want to search YouTube, uh, just go to youtube.com. You can search it through Google, but the YouTube search interface is a little bit more powerful than searching from the outside via Google. And the same thing with a lot of others. I think if you're trying to search like the library website, for example, our website actually has a tab in the search, when you go to our that site at the top, where you can actually just search within our site. It might be using Google as a search engine there, and some sites do that, but some sites will actually have their own search function.
We have
And so
our
you
own advanced search
go
page
straight to
too.
the site. Say again?
We have our own advanced search page too.
There we go. Yeah, the library advanced search page.
Yeah, you can do a
I
library advanced
use
search.
it all the time.
Me too. Yeah.
So here's a good question. They're all good questions, I should say. Carol asks, what about typing uppercase P in Popper? Would that work?
No. So Google doesn't, or rather, search engines don't really read that as being different uppercase and lowercase. It's just going to search the term.
Mhm. Yeah, they're not case sensitive. Searches,
Yeah,
just like
that's the
email
thing.
addresses.
Yeah.
Google search engines tend not to be case sensitive. Um, Patricia asks, how do you pull up professional medical journals only? That's a good one.
Yeah. So that would be, I would recommend Google Scholar for that. So Google has not only the regular Google interface, but there are like subsets of Google, like Google Scholar, for example. Yeah, thank you, Oleg, for sharing that in chat. So that's going to allow you to search scholarly publications, and you can narrow it down by date, peer reviewed, and just like a ton of other stuff. So that's going to help you out there. That's what I would recommend for searching for scholarly work of any kind, professional medical journals and um, anything like that. But Google, not only is it Google Scholar, but like you can search for flights, you can search, Google has so much stuff. Like if it's just I was actually looking at it today because I just wanted to know all that it had to offer. But like, there's directions on Google. You can look at different places on the map on Google. You can. What else can you do on Google?
Oh boy, it's the sky's
Yeah,
the limit. It really
yeah.
it
If you
really
have a
has
need,
kind of
Google
permeated
could
almost every kind of search.
try to meet it. Yeah, yeah. So like, definitely, um, that is worth exploring if you have the time and energy to. Um,
Mhm.
kind of peruse that.
And again, if you're trying to find professional medical journals, Google may not be. Google Scholar is fantastic. I mean, I use it all the time when I'm looking for any kind of scholarly academic work. But sometimes you just want to go to a specialized database. So I'm going to post the link in the chat to the National um, Library of Medicine. Um, and so PubMed is a database that gives you academic journals. And if you're interested in just medical information, that's encyclopedic, but not as in-depth as a scholarly journal, Medline Plus would be the place to go for that. And I posted the link. I'll post that link in our follow-up email as well. So if you didn't catch that in the chat, you'll still have it. You don't have to remember everything. Um, so here,
Our
let me see
online
if there's
database page has some medical stuff too, right?
absolutely. Yeah, we have some medical stuff as well. Um, yeah, we've got, we're talking about the deep web now. This is a term that's used for things that are beneath the surface. Um, where we're talking about like databases, we're talking about things that may not come up in a Google search, but has the information that you want and might bring up better results than Google. So it really depends on the specific type of search that you're looking for, the subject. Okay, so Sandy asks, for example, if there was an earthquake, how would I find where it occurred? Is there a way to find a specific website that would have the answer? Yes, there is. Do you know the website, Martin?
Usually I just Google earthquake and it comes up because yeah,
There
there's a
is.
geological, the National Geological website is usually the one I pull up.
Mhm, that's the one.
Yeah, I don't remember what
Let
it's
me see
called.
if USGS, I believe, is the product that,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
it.
latest earthquake. Yeah. So I'm gonna type in, I'm gonna put the link in the chat, and there's a latest earthquake, a link all the way at the top, right-hand side of the screen. Um, but yeah, for oftentimes there's just the site the exact site that you need. There's a specific site that has the information that you need.
Yeah.
Um, so that's a really interesting question, Sandy. Thank you. So let's see. So Joseph asks, when typing in the advanced search area, does it make a difference if I use spaces in between different words, or should there be no spaces in between words and characters?
Um, like in between parentheses and what by special
Uh,
can I have some clarifying information?
yeah, well, I think that the yeah, if you're between words, there should be spaces, just as you would type words within, if you're just typing to another person, words. But if there's a space, but if there's more than one space, Google just ignores that. So if you accidentally type your spacebar a few times, that's not going to make a difference in the search. And if you put
Right.
parentheses and you put space between the parentheses, I don't think that's going to make a difference. I'm going to try it. I'm going to try to type in cats. I'm going to put it in cats and ceilings. I'm going to try to put it in with space between the parentheses. It might actually try to look for if I put it between the parentheses. So if I type it in, I'm going to put it in the chat how I just typed it. I just typed in cats. Um, Came up with a musical, of course. So if I put spaces before and after, Cats the musical is terrible. Don't hate me, but it's awful, and I'm sad that Google brought it up first. Um, Opinions. So I typed in a couple of spaces before the parentheses, and then after cats, I put a few spaces after us, and I'm looking at my search, and I don't think it actually made a difference. I think Google just ignored those. Yeah, it looks like it just came up with a search that would have been cats anyway. Um, so yeah, spaces aren't that important. But if you run everything together without spaces, then Google will get confused and it'll just
Right.
think you're typing in gibberish.
Yeah.
It might do did you mean a search because it might realize, oh, those are words all just bunched together.
It is good at correcting typos and things like that. Like if you forget a space in between two words or you mistype something, Google's pretty good about like knowing what you meant or figuring out what you meant. Or you misspell something or you don't know how to spell something, Google's really good at
Hmm. Yeah.
that kind of thing.
Sand, yes. What are all the search engines?
Ooh, there's so many.
There.
Um, that is there are so many search engines and there's a lot of specialized search engines. There's like I mean there's like the big three that we talked about in this program are like Yahoo, Bing, and Google, and that's just like barely scratching the surface. And then there's the one that Oleg talked about, Wolfram Alpha, and then
Hmm.
there's like DuckDuckGo is kind of a big one now.
Yeah.
People are
I
using
I used I
DuckDuckGo.
use that one.
Yeah, so that one's like kind of more a little bit more concerned about like privacy and like keeping your information away from Google and all the other big, big
Yeah,
corporations.
DuckDuckGo does not they do not track your searches. I'm going to
Yeah,
put a link in the chat. I've been using DuckDuckGo. Actually, I use the DuckDuckGo browser on my phone, um, just so that my searches don't all get tracked and I don't get weird ads from Google.
yeah.
I'll
That's
of
a
course
good one.
post that in the follow-up email. So let's see. There's a question here. Um, what's the difference between searching on Google versus Google Doc? I don't, those are two different things. So Google is a search engine. There's Google Search, and then Google Docs is a productivity software, which we covered was it last week or the week
2 weeks
before?
ago.
Two
Maybe
weeks
it was
ago.
last week.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so Google Docs is for typing documents. So that's not a search.
There's a video on YouTube about it, isn't there?
There absolutely is. I'm going to post that in the chat just for fun.
Yeah.
And I'm going to leave you while I go search for that, I'm going to leave you with a question here. Uh, is white papers ever used for searching anymore?
Um,
It's like the term white papers.
I don't know what that means.
So the answer to that is yes. I mean, if you're looking for a white paper, and people do call white papers still. So if you want to find a white paper, something that's like white paper, which is for those who don't know, it's a monograph written by an expert on something, typically some kind of research topic. I don't know if that's the official definition for it, but that's the way that I've always thought of it. And correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. But that is the yeah. So yeah, you can type in white paper if you're doing a search. Uh, Raquel asks, how do I find these different search engines?
Um, so like, how do you find like a list of all the search engines? That would probably be a Google search. You could probably do a Google search for a list of search engines, and you could probably, somebody's probably compiled a large list of almost every search engine that there is. I'm sure that someone has done that.
Yeah, and it's changing all the time. I mean, there's new
Yeah,
ones pop up, new ones disappear. So
the
it's not
internet's
as
flux
it is
constantly.
always in flux, always changing. That I mean, isn't that why we're here though? Isn't that why we're doing these presentations and why when we do research, I mean, watch that when you, Martin, do research to present this, that's why we even though we do search all the time, that's why we have to do research about this. So here's I'm posting the YouTube link to YouTube video from Martin's program 2 weeks ago on Google Docs and Microsoft Office. So for those who are interested in that. Um, but yeah, if you search Google for search engines, I expect that there to be some really interesting results there. Um, Nick asks, can searches for PDFs find them within JSTOR? Do JSTOR documents come up on Google? I think that's one of those deep web searches.
Yeah, I
So
think your best bet for JSTOR would probably be to go to JSTOR and do your search there.
Mhm.
Because JSTOR is like such a specific thing that I think that going to the actual website was gonna probably, I mean, you could try it. Like you could type in site JSTOR.org, it's JSTOR.org.com.
JSTOR.org. I think it's a .org, or yeah, I think
Yeah,
it's a .org.
I think it is a .org as well. So yeah, so you could do site colon JSTOR.org and do your search. And yeah, I think your best bet is probably going to be you can. I mean, I'm sure that you will get some JSTOR ish or JSTOR search results if you're typing something specific and looking for something that JSTOR does have. I'm sure it would come up. But if you're trying to find things that are in JSTOR, I think your best bet is going to be to go to JSTOR.
Yeah, that's exactly. You took the words right out of my mouth. For that for JSTOR specifically, since it's behind a well, it's not a paywall, but it's behind a login. Um, their searches tend not to come up in Google. But the other thing is that, for example, in a repository like Hothy Trust, which is also a repository of scientific articles and older books that have been digitized, some of them are available for the public for free, and some of them are not. Those actually exist in Google for that specific site, but they're so low in the search engine in engine results for for the titles that they oftentimes will just I mean you won't you have to go through 500 Google results to be able to find them. So if you know the site that you want to search, you just go to Hothy Trust or go to JSTOR and search there. It's more efficient. Um, so is there a way to search? Is there a way to search that limits the websites returned by country of origin? Hmm.
Yeah, so there was a by region in the advanced search. Yeah, we can go back to that. Yeah, so here there's a by language, you can search by language, and by region. You can limit your search that way. I'm gonna take this again. So there's language and then there's region right below that. So you can um, check those out too. And you should be able to, let me search that way.
Yeah. So by region, usually regions will have their own dot, like Canada is .ca, Russia is .ru, but there are some countries that sell their domains to people everywhere. So sometimes that regional search can be a little bit
True.
challenging. But if you kind of juxtapose or combine language and region, then that might actually help out. Um, so like sometimes all search is kind of crossing different pieces of information to filter out things that don't apply to either of them. It's like a Venn diagram of searching. Maribel asks, when do you use a colon versus a slash versus a plus versus a parentheses?
Um,
I don't
so
think you ever
all
use a slash.
Yeah, I remember there's a time to use a slash in an advanced search. Um, so the parentheses are going to order your search. Let's go back to stop annotating. There we go. Okay. Let's go to this. Too far. Okay. So yeah. So here we have the parentheses around adoption and pets. I could put a plus sign instead of the and like Oleg so generously demonstrated for us earlier. Um, or yeah, so I would put these parentheses around adoption and I could put plus pets and then it would search adoption and pets. And then minus children would take away children from that search. So I wouldn't be searching for children for adoption. I'd only be searching for pets for adoption. So you can use any of these things whenever you want. It just depends on what you're searching for and how you want to limit your search.
Exactly. So yeah, Nikki has to do the operators work in YouTube. Beatrice, hi, Oleg, do you mind to please show us again how to limit the publication date on a site like the news? Okay. Shall I do it, Martin, or do you want to do it on your end?
I can do it. Let me change on share. Actually, yeah, I'll stop sharing. Do it. If you already have it pulled up, you can do it.
I don't, but I can.
My computer is
Yeah, I can pull it up. Hang on.
okay.
Um, Let me switch over the presenter to myself.
Thank you, like
All right, no worries. And then I'm going to share my browser. There it goes. Okay, so here's a Google search. So if let's talk about news. So what we can do. So for example, if I want to search for just the New York Times. Okay, so let's type in. If we wanted to get articles on. I don't know what's a good search topic, Martin. What's
um
something that's been in the news?
something that's been in the news.
You know what? I got one. Recently, the writer, Luz writes COVID. No. I don't want to type in COVID.
I don't know.
Oh, Julian Assange. Okay, let's type in Julian Assange.
Is he in the news
Julian,
lately?
I don't know. We're going to find out right now. Of course,
All right.
Julian Assange is known for being behind WikiLeaks. And there's the subject of movies, and he's been under house arrest for a long time, and many things about him have been in the news for a long time. So if I wanted to just see what New York Times has said about Julian Assange, so as you can notice, I've typed in parentheses around Julian Assange. I don't really have to do that, but I'm going to do it just so that my search is a little bit more relevant because otherwise it might come up with things that say Julian and or just Assange. So and then I'm going to type in site colon nytimes.com and now I know that I haven't gotten to the time period yet, but I'm going to in a second. So for the time period, I don't remember how to type in the range of time in the search bar. So what I usually do is I just do, so I have this. So Julian Assange, they actually have a topic page. New York Times has that. But if I wanted to, so you can see the dates here and you see October is here. So it comes up in all sorts of different, it's not in order, it's not a chronological order. And it might not be, although there might be a way to do that. So all results are verbatim. So let's do anytime, and I'm going to do custom range. So if say I wanted to see what has been talked about Julian Assange within the last 6 months. So in that situation, I would type in 06 or 07, 01, 2021. And then here, I can always also do this and just select it. And that would be December 30th, which is today, and hit go. Okay, so now all what has come up is just the news about that includes Julian Assange, where the words Julian Assange are mentioned in the New York Times. And so we scroll through, there's some similar articles, sometimes on the same day, there's multiple news articles. And then of course images that were in there so that you can see there's a ton. What comes up on page 10. So actually, weirdly, there's only 3 pages, which is what you want. I mean, that's that. Well, I don't know why it comes here. It comes up with
That is
uh,
weird.
that's a weird thing. This looks like we found a bug in Google. So there's no more. So what I think the rest of the pages, so the first 3 pages are the ones that are searched, and then Google's like, well, there's actually more. If you want to, in order to show the most relevant, we have omitted some entries very similar to the 26 already displayed. You can also repeat the search with omitted results included. So I think maybe some of the other searches might be extra stuff. So things that like duplicates of stuff. Where do your spices come from? See, that's not, Julian says may have been on that page somewhere, but it may not be relevant. This is also maybe not in English. Anyhow, so that's one way to limit by, long story short, that's how you limit. Let me see if there's anything else here that where if I already have this open. Okay,
Somebody said, can you search more than one site and how? Um,
I
so
think you can.
yeah, why don't you try NY Times and LA Times?
I'm just gonna type it like this, latimes.com. Let's see if it comes up with both. Nope, I don't think it likes that.
Yeah.
Because I think it's trying to do it's a, or it's doing an or search.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yep.
Let's try
Sure.
and see if it comes up. Nope, it doesn't like that. Let's see if we can go to advanced search. Um, so I'm going to type in google.com / advanced underscore search. Let's go to the page that Martin was talking about. Get a close-up view of what we were doing here. So all these words, Julian Assange, and let's see so site or domain. Um, let's see if
It
it can do
says,
both.
well,
And
next
what?
to it, it says search one site, or let me read both.
Oh yeah, search one site. Yeah, so I guess you can't search both of them in the same search. Not Google doesn't let you do that. Um, yeah, I guess you can't. So that answers the question. Um,
Somebody
what?
said, sorry, I
I
don't
don't
know
know.
if you can see this.
I think you're going from the bottom. I have some questions from the middle still.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
Um, no worries. As long as we're on the subject of medical information, what's a good site for debunking COVID misinformation? Well,
Uh,
that gets us into a whole
yeah,
nother topic because we're talking about information literacy there.
yeah,
Um, I would say the Center for Disease Control.
yeah,
I mean that.
CDC.
I mean it. If you go to if you get your information directly from the LA County Public Health website or CDC, um, popular news sites, generally speaking, will try to corroborate the information that they present. Sometimes with things like COVID, the challenge is that there are a lot of things, and that this has occurred a lot of time in the beginning of the pandemic. There are a lot of things that are unknown. Research is just coming out, and when you go to websites like the New York Times or other news sites, their reporters who have some expertise typically, are talking to experts and try to put all that information together. And so sometimes what you get is information that is later found to be not as accurate because new information came out and new research came out and found that what happened before was not real. But I would say probably uh, trust websites like the CDC. Moving on from that, that's a whole nother thing to talk about misinformation and disinformation. We might have to do a whole nother program on that because that's like an hour long or 2 hour long conversation. Reverse image search. So, Anna, how do you do reverse image lookups? That is when you have an image you want to ID. That's a great question, and I can demonstrate how to do that right now.
Yeah,
Um,
you can drag and
Images.
drop.
hmm So what
It's
I'm going to do
very powerful.
actually, so what we can do here, so here's Google Images. So here's this little box that's a search by image. If you click that, you can either paste an image URL. A URL is a web address. So if I wanted to search, so let me just, I'm going to go to pexels.com, which is a website that has free and public domain photos. Oh, something happened. Let's do Unsplash instead because something that doesn't want to go to this page. Okay, so Unsplash, and I'm going to type in cats because that's the theme of our conversation. And it should be the theme of every conversation, really. Okay, so let's say we want to find out where this image right here has been used online. So I'm going to right click on it and I'm going to type in copy image address. And what that's going to do is it's going to give me a direct address for that image. I'm going to go back to Google Images and I'm going to paste that in here. That's a really big thing. So I'm going to search by image. And it's going to bring up that image and then it's going to give me, so here's this image. And then it's going to give me all sorts of searches. There are all sorts of websites that have used that image. And so that's what was called a reverse image search. So that you have the image and you want to search for kind of websites that have used it or like kind of what it is. It's a neat thing. I've used it a lot over the years. Teachers wants to learn more about DuckDuckGo private search. I'm gonna put the DuckDuckGo link in the follow-up email, so you guys will get that. Nikki wants to know, how do you find information about the latest wildlife perimeter? So we're getting pretty specific in this in with the questions. I think what we're doing is kind of more of a general advanced search. So there's oftentimes I happen to know that for wildfires, there's oftentimes websites like a TSEP for depending on the place, but oftentimes places will have their own organizations. Sometimes like the sheriffs, the sheriff will have wildfire information. The fire department website will have wildfire information. So you want to go straight to those sites for the best. And oftentimes their Twitter, their social media feeds will have regular updates. And Patricia said for earthquake, the My Shake app tells where earthquakes are happening all over. So if you have if you want to do mobile phone, then type in My Shake into your Google Play Store um, or your App Store on Apple devices. Okay.
So it does look like we are getting like some questions, people asking for specific search results. So I just want to say that for specific questions, you can always go to your library and they'll be able to help you out with that. Or you can call your library, they can help you out with that too. Or, I mean, Instant Librarian, if you want to just chat with a librarian, you can do that on your phone or through the desktop. And those are all available for you. But right now we are kind of focusing on just a general search, how to do a search kind of thing, rather than specific questions. I'm going to throw a link in the chat to some of those options in case you are interested in chatting with someone for that purpose.
That's a good point, yeah, because we're getting really specific in the searches, and that's in library. That's what we call these reference questions, and we love them, but we could be doing reference questions for the next 2 hours, and I mean, and in some ways I would love to, but that's not what we're doing
Right.
here. So,
So,
and then after you finish doing that, I have a question. I have another question here, and then
okay.
probably we're gonna start to wrap up pretty soon.
Yeah.
Because it's getting to be almost 12:15, which is generally speaking when we try to conclude. But uh, if there's
Yeah.
other questions, we'll try to cover the questions.
Yeah. Okay, so I just put the contact us thing in the chat. So we also have there's the text chat thing that I was talking about. There's not really a link to that. You just have to go to our website and down at the bottom it says text or chat. It hasn't opened yet, but it'll open at 12. So um, you can live
I'll show
chat with someone at
I'll show
12.
I'll show folks where it is.
Oh, thank
So
you. Yes,
I'm
yes,
going
thank you.
I'm going all the way to the bottom, and then there's on the right over here on the side. I
Yeah.
got some things. So right where it says text chat. So it's Monday through Friday, 12 to 6 p.m. So actually it is open now because it's already 12. It's past 12.
Oh, yeah, yeah, you're right, you're right.
I'm gonna click on it.
All right, you're gonna chat with someone?
Wow. If I wanted to, as ask a librarian. I can chat. I can chat right now, and I can get my questions answered. Maybe I can just put the questions that people are asking. No, I'm not going to do that.
Don't do that.
They're gonna. But yeah, there's actual people, actual
Yeah,
librarians
I do it sometimes.
behind it.
So I'm the
Martin is
person
an
you're
instant,
talking to.
yeah,
Yeah.
Martin's an instant librarian. Um, so let's see. Okay, does it matter what browser you're using for searches? In other words, does a browser you're on limit your advanced search?
It does not. The browser shouldn't matter when you're doing an advanced search, but it will matter. So the answer is actually kind of. If you're just typing in a search into the URL bar, so on the screen we're looking at right now where it says lacountylibrary.org up at the top, if you just type in a search there, depending on what browser you're using, it is going to affect your search. So this, since Oleg is using Chrome, it's going to search Google because Google Chrome, Google owns Chrome. But if you're using Microsoft Edge, it's going to use Bing because that's the Microsoft thing. So it does to an extent, but you can, if you go to Bing on the Chrome browser, if you go to the Bing website, you're going to be able to just do a normal search like you would, and it's not going to, it's Bing doesn't care that you're using Google Chrome.
Mhm. And you can change what search. So Google Chrome automatically defaults to Google Search up here. If you just type in a search up here, I'm going to search for Google Chrome within Google Chrome. But there, if you go into the settings of your browser, you can often change what the default search is. So it doesn't have to be, even though it when you download the browser, when you have the browser, it automatically is Google. It doesn't have to be Google. So let's see. Can you use site colon Twitter to search just for Twitter? Um, yes, but you would search and you do site colon twitter.com to search just for twitter.com.
Just search in Twitter.
Yeah, to search in Twitter. Oh, Sandy asks, what is Instant Librarian? That's a great question.
Um, yeah, so Instant Librarian is you just get to uh, chat with via text with a librarian. So I do Instant Librarian. Sometimes I'm the librarian you're chatting with. Basically, you can just log on and ask any library related question that you have, or any research question that you have, and we will try to figure it out for you via chat, or we'll like going to a real library. If we don't know the answer, we'll kind of direct you to someone who does know the answer. Yeah, so it's just like chatting with a librarian.
It absolutely is.
Yeah, I love doing it. It's super fun.
Yeah, it's a great. I mean, I think it's a great service. I was an
It's
instant
great.
librarian all the way when we just started doing it. I was part of like the first class of instant
Nice.
librarians. Uh, yeah, it's great. I mean, it just gives people one other way to get in touch with us, which is what we want.
You can text in on your phone, so even if you
Mhm.
don't have a smartphone, you can still use Instant Librarian.
So we have a great question here. This is almost actually this is the last question. So, oh, Sanus, what is the app? There's no app. Instant Librarian is a chat service from the library website. But you can also there's also a phone number that you can use to text questions to Instant Librarian. So yeah, it's about 12:16 now, and we Maribel asked this great question, and it actually brings us right to the end of our time. And the question is, did you say you do tech every Thursday at 11 a.m.? How do we see past episodes? The answer to the question is I did say that. We have been doing digital literacy programs practically every Thursday at 11 a.m. We took a break last week because it was Christmas week, and we didn't think that a lot of people would be. We thought a lot of people would be busy on the 23rd. But yeah, we do every Thursday at 11. We do digital literacy, and Martin and Adriana and Lawrence and other our Make More librarians present text. Sometimes I'm here just mostly hosting and helping with the Q&A. And you can see past episodes via our YouTube channel. So I'm going to type in our YouTube link, and I will edit the videos when we record these programs. I edit them down just a little bit, and I post them. Usually, they get posted in our YouTube channel by our library team here. Typically, the week after the event. They usually I will post the link. I usually send the link out in the follow-up email. So you can see past our past presentations, and I can put a link to some of them in our in the follow-up email so that you can see what kind of stuff you've missed and catch up and watch them, watch them at your leisure. So with that, I wanna tell the folks out there about what is it okay, Martin? I want to tell folks what's happening in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, go for it.
We've got January planned out, and I'm just going to tell you about the first two programs in January, and then you can go to our library website and go to the event. Actually, I'm here. I can show you. So if you go to our library website and you go to events, just hover over it with your mouse, and then go to virtual programming. If you click on that, you'll get a link to all of our virtual programs, and so you'll see programs here that aren't just digital literacy. There's programs for kids, there's programs for teens, the Smarty Pants story times for kids, but you can also see among them are our digital literacy programs. So advanced Google search, this should be familiar to everybody. Next week we have intro to photo editing, and then we have organizing your email. And then of course later on, this I already have all the January events added on handheld
Oh,
devices and how the internet works. These are going to be fun. Thursdays at 11 o'clock. And but you can actually just search for digital literacy. I'm just going to go to today's event. So this is what the event looks like on there. You can register for the event. By clicking there, it'll take you to WebEx. And if you type in if you click here, computers and technology, that will show you the different events for computers and technology. Unfortunately, it just shows you the ones for today. So you can always search for
on
computers.
the left right there, you can change the date range.
Ooh, hey, there
Nice.
we go. There it is. So if we change the date range to all of January, let's say January 1st, or this is going to be two. So let's do to January 31st and comp. Oh, I made a mistake here. I need to do this. There you go. Ah,
Nice.
success.
Using
So
those advanced Google
here's what we
search
have coming.
already.
Here's what we have coming up. So let me post a link in the chat to Intro to Photo Editing and Organizing Your Email. So Intro to Photo Editing is going to show a free online and on your mobile devices a piece of software, an app called Flickr, not Flickr, called ooh, I forget what it's called now. Anyway, it's an app that's going to let you edit your photos. It's pretty easy to use and fun and free. And let me post a link to that event in the chat, and you guys can sign up for it right now.
I don't know what
And
this app is. Maybe I should go.
I was at the previous time that Lawrence did that program, and it was really good. I mean, it gives it's pretty easy to use, and it's something that I think anybody should want to try if you do any kind of if you need to resize photos or make them a little bit brighter, crop them, all kinds of stuff. I mean,
Cool.
it's a powerful little app, and you can get it right from the browser of your right from your computer browser, so you don't even have to download anything. And then organizing your email. So we had a program about email like a pro, um, this past couple of months ago. And during that program, people were interested in more information about email and particularly how to wade through and and organize your incoming emails. And so Adriana Albizers, one of our Make My librarians, um, said, I'll do another one. And so she extended that, and organizing your email is a result. And so that's going to teach you how to go through emails and how to set up systems in order to help you organize your email. Um, so I'm looking at the chat. Marge said, "Would love to see more text sessions for phones and their apps." It's good that you say that because Martin will be back for understanding handheld devices on January 20th. Um, I can post a registration link to that for you guys in the chat if you want to register for that right away. I'll just post a link to this page. I'm going to copy this page right here, and you can go to it and you can sign up for it. And yeah, absolutely. In the future, we can have more programs on phones and different apps, and apps that do different things. So if you're anything that you folks out there, if you're still with us, are interested in, let me know in the chat. Let us know in the follow-up. Respond to the follow-up email. we always welcome your ideas. We want to respond to what you need. These programs that we do, digital literacy events, are for you. So if there are things that you're interested in, yeah, absolutely, let us know. Okay, I think that about covers it, Martin.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for putting together this presentation. Um, you covered all the basics, and then we're able to get all these fantastic questions too.
Good
So
question.
very much appreciated, Martin. All right. Hopefully, hope everybody has a happy New Year celebration. Stay dry, stay safe, and if all goes well, we'll see you next week with Intro to Photo Editing.
Yeah.
Have a good afternoon.